Okay, I did one of these a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually pretty fun. And I got a few responses that they were helpful, so I'm doing another one. So right here, I'm working on a photo of my friend Cindy from my last trip to Vegas for Viva Las Vegas. This one was actually shot the following week in LA. I have a couple of places I really love to shoot. This place is in La Crescenta, or no, I'm sorry, La Cañada, and just this huge, beautiful mansion with all this natural light. And Cindy is absolutely beautiful, and my friend Liz Garza did hair for this. So, and my friend Bella did the makeup. So I should probably state that one of the things about making these photos look their best is the team that you work with. You can do all the Photoshop and studio lighting and everything that you want, but if you don't start with an excellent team, your result is not going to be half of what it would be if you were working with professional hair and makeup people, and just great models make it easy. And then once you have a nice location, I mean, I've said this before, like, I don't know how hard it would be for me to do a good photo. I feel with all those elements, like great hair, great makeup, great model, great location, I mean, you'd have to really kind of go out of your way to not make a great photo. But I'm going to go through this whole process just like I did for the Misumi video that I did a couple of weeks ago. And it's going to be sort of, I don't know, I don't have much discipline for this type of stuff. I'm just kind of going to talk as I go. But I usually start with the eyes here. It's usually one of the first things I do is just lighten the, if you take your, it's burn, I don't want burn, I want dodge. I'll take the dodge tool and I'll keep it down to about 15% so it's light, and then a small radius soften brush, and I'll just lighten the eye up a little bit. That might actually be even too much. You don't want to go crazy with that because then you start getting that weird like HDR look, and I mean if that's the type of work you do, that's fine, but I want my stuff to look kind of realistic, like it was shot in the real world. One thing I can do sometimes is after I lighten the cornea, I'll come in and I'll grab the burn tool and I'll just lighten the burn in the outside of the cornea, and it just gives this, you'll see right there, the contrast between just the edge of the eye and then the lighter cornea just looks really good. Let's see here. So, I mean, this shot, I'm really happy with this. In fact, I actually told my friend Cindy when I took this is like one of my favorite photos I think I've ever taken, and that's not an exaggeration. I just love this combination of like natural light that comes off sort of bluish or cool with warm light like the lamp up here above her head, and all the shadows and everything are just great, and the brass down here on the sink is great, and she looks great, and the dress is really cute, and so, but yeah, no, I was really happy when I shot this. So one thing I'm going to start looking for is just irregularities of where the light kind of bounces off her skin, and again, if you watch that first Misumi video I did, you'll see more of this. I'll give that about a 3 pixel feather. And then I'll start using the patch tool to just grab some of these hard spots and just move them over a little bit. And it just kind of softens up that hard edge where the light's blasting. Well, it's not blasting, it's actually falling really nice and softly. It was a perfect day, it was nice and diffused light. But these are just little nitpicky things I do to start off. I just get these major things fixed. One thing I should mention too is, like, I know there's a few photographers that have watched these and left comments, and I know there's more efficient ways of doing this. I mean, my mom, actually, my mom's really into editing and Photoshop and stuff, and she's sent me links to other photographers, like the big guys, like the ones that like make a living doing this, like YouTube stars, like that Flo Knows photo guy and those sort of dudes, and they probably, this would pain them to watch me do this because there's better ways to do it, but like the editing and stuff that I do these days is getting much closer to digital painting more than it is retouching. And I have reasons for some of it. Like, I mean, I actually want a lot of this stuff to look. I don't want it to look so perfect, I guess, in a way. Like, I kind of like having a little bit of a grit. I like still seeing pores on the skin. I want, and a lot of the clients that hire me, that's like also what they want. They're not, if you want to go to somebody that'll make you look like a mannequin, there's a lot of photographers, especially in LA, that can do that. But that's not usually what my clients want. They kind of embrace the fact that they still look like themselves. Just like they're kind of hiring me just to be the best version of themselves. There's not much I have to do here. This is, like I said, this was one of the reasons I thought this would be a good photo to probably work on for a tutorial, because some of them can take a while, and I will do ones in the future that are like really harsh lighting or whatever, and I can spend more time on it. But this is only the second one of these I've made. So okay, that for the time being, that's pretty good. I just wanted to get those major. Yeah, you can see that loop. That's a softer transition right there of light. It goes from the highlight to the mid-tone a lot smoother than it did before, and that's about it. That's probably where I'm gonna last or leave it. So now the next step is. Again, this is just my process, but I will go in and I will make this real crazy selection of basically all skin tones. It gets a little tricky around the hair sometimes, but yeah, I'll do that. Again, I have a 3 pixel feather on this select tool. Yeah, and again, I know there's masks and things that'll probably, like magnetic lasso tool that would probably make this easier, but I'm working on a Wacom Intuos 5, and over the last 10 years or so, I've gotten pretty good at just being able to follow the line of the skin. I can do this pretty quick. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's more time consuming, but I found a way to make my intent for doing this efficient. Like I found a way that like make the use of my time in selecting the skin tones worth the trouble of going in and doing this by hand. Oh, that is not what I want. Hold on. There we go. And again, all I'm looking for is skin tone, or skin, like basically any exposed flesh anywhere. So that would include somebody's arm, even in the areas where it's dark, like this. Oh. Alright. This is sort of a little janky right now because I'm making a screen recording while I'm working, and I think my processor's starting to get a little hot, so it's stuttering a bit for me on my end. Alright. Hold on one second. I'll give you an idea of what I want to do. So I'm selecting all this because I'm going to apply a filter called portraiture over the skin. But well, I should first explain what portraiture is. It's just a plugin. It's just like one of these third-party companies that wrote some software and made a little Photoshop plugin. But it softens the skin in a variety of ways. The thing I was just talking about with the mannequin effect, where the skin looks like absolutely perfect with no pores. There are options for that as well, but I use these like really subtle options just to do a little bit of a soften. So when I apply that, I don't want it to hit everything. I don't want it to soften like the fingernails and like the eyebrows. That's not what I'm looking for. So I'll go through and do this painstaking process by hand, and it's another reason why my photo, like one photo these days. Oh, jeez, I got disconnected. There we go. It's one of the reasons why my images that I'm editing these days can take me like an hour and a half to 2 hours each. And if you hired me for a shoot and you're waiting on your photos, I'd say 99% of my clients are just amazing and super patient. But if you're ever wondering where your photos are, like, you're getting a look into why they take so long. Sort of what I said earlier about this becoming more like digital painting. You'll see that when I finish up this step. I'll be doing some painting around the head and the face, and sometimes, depending on the photo, I actually add stuff that's not even there, like reflections of light under the chin, if I think they look like they should be there, or if they're not pronounced enough, I'll go in there. I have a shoot I did on this, actually the same day as this shoot, with Holly Madison at the same location, and there's a shot of her where she's in this music room and there's like a harp and all this other stuff, and I know for a fact, I love the photo, but I know I'm going to have to go in and do some digital painting on like her chin and her cheeks and her forehead a little bit to kind of pronounce that really dark, moody light that my work is kind of known for. Alright, the last thing I gotta do here is the thigh. So this will just take a minute. This is definitely the most time-consuming part, but you're going to see here in a minute why it's worth doing. Yeah, I am not the type of photographer that does like actions and just like applies an action to a photo to get it to look a certain way. I just, not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I've shot for Suicide Girls a bunch of times, and that's a different use case. You're just trying to get a set of photos done, and these are individual pictures. I kind of think of these edits as like, I guess you'd say like fine art, or like, and actually, that's one of my favorite compliments is like, I get people on Instagram or, Steam It or something that will say, like, oh, it looks like a painting, and like that is like the highest compliment that I could be paid, because, well, that's kind of what I'm going for. I want like a sort of fine art look to my photos. Alright, so there you go. You could see that sucks, right? But gotta do it. So here's the important thing. When I apply this filter, it's only going to apply it to the areas that are selected. So there are certain areas that I don't want it to hit. So I got to go in here now and deselect around the eye and the crease of the eye and the brows. And Bella did a good job on this makeup. She's just so low. Again, hang on. This is like 2 steps behind because my processor is really slow. Okay, there you go. Eyebrows. Just deselect the eye. The nose, right here, the corner of the nose, you're gonna wanna, pretty much anything that looks like a hard line, whether it's a nostril or, just the bridge of the nose, the lips, these are all really important areas that I don't wanna lose my sharpness. So yeah, that's probably just about where I want to be. You can see down here I didn't select the fingernails, and I went around the ring too. So everything else, I'm going to go up here, hit filter, go down to portraiture, and you're going to see this will, I'll zoom in here a little bit so you can kind of see what's going to happen to the, okay. Yeah, it's very subtle. I mean, like, there, see that? When I move it, it'll go back to the original and then let go, and you'll see it just soften ever so slightly. And that is what I want, just ever so slightly. It seems like a lot of work for just that amount of subtlety, but that's a big factor in kind of in what makes my work look like my work. And you know what, actually? I'm gonna go back here. So I just undid that portraiture because I just realized something. Cindy's in the mirror. So if you're gonna do it to one, you gotta do it to the other. There'd be some cases with certain lenses where actually this wouldn't even matter, because if she was back far enough, she would be out of focus. But I'm shooting with 35 millimeter in this picture, and this is close enough that you can still see her eyes look real sharp and everything, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Not even for the softening filter, which, I mean, that'll help a little. But because, yeah, I'm gonna do her arm too. I know I'm just being nitpicky, but again, that's why these pictures take so long. But I'd like to think that's also why, people like it. The greatest rule of thumb that I always plays through my head is not cutting corners. If you hit that point where most people would probably just be like, "Oh, screw it," and they would just not do something, that's usually when I force myself to do it. Anyway, there we go. Okay, so let me jump up here real quick. And then same rule, you're gonna have to deselect the lip. And the nose. And the eye. And the brow. Okay. So once you have both Cindy's selected, now we can do what I want to do. So it's going to be portraiture. And then Command F, I'll do it one more time. I don't know if this was obvious, but I'm making this recording in a coffee shop, so you're probably getting a lot of background noise and classical music. No promises what's going to follow. It could be the Dead Kennedys right after that. Okay. All right, here we go. Now I move back in, and select the rest of the eye. There we go. And then you can move it to the reflection and do the same. Now we actually want everything, because the softening step has been done. And then the next step is, this is where I was talking earlier about how it's an efficient, it seems like a waste of time, or why would you go through all those steps, but this is where it actually makes sense. So okay, you gotta actually select everything that's left out. So that includes the jewelry, that includes the ring, or the fingernails. And you got to be relatively precise with this because what we're going to actually do is punch up the contrast and the brightness a little bit. And if you don't do a good job with selecting this, you're going to see lines. There's going to be like a thin line that wraps around the edge of whatever you're doing, and it's a huge pain in the ass to try to fix. Like even the distinction between her thigh and the dress here is like a pretty big deal to pay attention to. All right, so now I go up to curves, and now you're gonna see. Now this is really handy considering, like, most people know my photography is really dark, and that's sort of like one of my signatures. But when you punch it just a little bit like that, that is how you're gonna get most of your like little shadows to come out, like enough that you still see texture in the skin. It also kind of works as like a bit of a light. It's like a pseudo light, like a spotlight that kind of lightens your model up and brings her out of the background a little more. So you still get the really cool, rich, dark, moody background, but your model's just your subject is a little more pronounced. It doesn't look like much, but watch. See that? There. You can see all the lines of her body. Look right near her neck. Right there. Now, this is when she was selected. And then following this, watch just her neckline by her collarbone. Yeah. See, and I like that. Okay, so there's not going to be much more I have to do here. The only thing that kind of is bugging me a little bit, and I think I said this in the last video I made with Masumi, a lot of this is instinct. I can't explain it, you just kind of blur your eyes a bit, and you can kind of, at least for me, I just could see little things standing out, like little things that need to be changed. Like right now the top of the forehead here is still, now this line on the cheekbone, these are like old lighting techniques from like I shouldn't say techniques, this is just the way things looked back in the like 30s, 40s, and 50s. And that's why I've fallen in with like the pinup community so much, is because like, if there was ever a genre of photography that was in need of a refresh, it was probably pinup, like the cheesecake stuff. Not that, it's its own thing. Cheesecake will always be its own thing, but like, I just think that group, that genre, that whole scene just needed like something new, I think it's another reason, like Shannon Brooke, like she's a good friend of mine, and I think she's just a talented photographer in any genre, but I think it's one of the reasons she does so well there too, is because like, her stuff still looks pinup, but it's just it's the evolution of pinup. It's like got the same fun, sexy feel as like a lot of the cheesecake stuff, but she's gotten out of the seamless backdrop, cherry picking pose kind of stuff, and she does so good. She's got a couple of books out which I own, and she's phenomenal. Love Shannon. But yeah, anyway, that was my point, is like, I still, when I work with talented hair and makeup people like Liz, that can do these like 40s curls and styles and everything, and like Bella can do these like beautiful pinup makeup looks and everything. It just, my style of photography, just, it's a natural fit. It just looks like these photos were actually taken in the 40s. It's believable. That's why Noir does so well every year. I do an event every year called Noir, and it's basically what it is like, you'll see here. Actually, maybe when I'm done here, I'll just really quickly drop this down to a black and white photo, and you'll be able to see how good this will look, how classic, like old Hollywood. And see what I'm doing right now, I'm just getting obsessive, and this is probably at the same time both one of my strengths and one of my weaknesses, because this is why my pictures take so long. But This is why I only get like 5 or 6 pictures done in an afternoon or a day. Yeah, okay, so one last thing here. This is still not as smooth of a transition as I want. So this is where the digital painting starts coming in. So I will add a layer and then start grabbing some color here with the eyedropper to get it close to about the middle of that transition. And then this is going to be at about an 85 point brush with opacity of an 18, and see this little guy here, what's it called? Always use pressure for size when off brush. Okay, so this is like your pressure tool, and so is this. These are both pressure tools. So if you're using a if you're using like a Wacom tablet, which if you're not, you really should be having something with like 20, 48 points of pressure sensitivity to do this type of stuff. But now I'm just coming in here and basically trying, there you go, that turned out perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm just painting over the top of what already exists a little bit, but to keep that transition not as harsh. You'll see when I delete this. See that difference? And that, what I just did, is it's what I do all day long. It's the thing that takes the longest. It's because I can get really neurotic about it, and I can just spend time painting on these photos. But when I get those compliments, on like social media where people are like, "Oh my God, it looks like a painting," that's why it hits my heart so profoundly. Is because like it really, in a lot of ways, it does become painting, and it's kind of cool because I went to school for painting. That was like, I wanted to be a comic book artist, and it's neat to have the opportunity to kind of do both. Like I get to go take these pictures and then bring them home and start painting over them. But yeah, everything there looks, I love that. I think that looks great. Let me zoom out here so you can get a look at that. Yeah, see that cheekbone? It's just a lot more pleasing the eye when there's a gradual transition between those colors. And the last thing I'll do here, I'll probably wrap this up because I don't want it to get too long, but I'll probably do some color processing. But one thing I want to show you though is just like how smooth this is going to look as a black and white. I mean, the colors are great. Like I mean, when I'm finished with this, I'm probably going to post the color, but I'm going to merge that layer down. And then real quick, this is how I do black and whites. I know there's a lot of different ways people go into the black and white setting. I actually tend to pick two colors, like a black that's almost down near the bottom, 070707 is its hash, and then at the top it's just like a white that's not all the way white, and it's F6, 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 F6 is the hash. And then I'll just go up here and I'll go to gradient map, and this will turn it into a black and white for me with those two colors I chose. And that just, look at that, so nice. That looks good. Cindy's so beautiful. All right, let's turn this up a little bit. Just a little contrast, pull this down a little bit. And yeah, look at that, it's gorgeous. Beautiful photo. I was really happy with this one. But okay, that's a look at it. That's kind of another look at my weird, crazy process. But hope it helps some of you, and leave some comments, and if you have any questions, or believe me, if you have any suggestions on ways to do this easier, I'm totally open to it. I'm not locked into anything. I've had friends that have showed me things that have like made my entire Photoshop experience infinitely easier. My friend Nick is a developer that used to work for Yahoo, and he showed me the content-aware delete tool, and it changed my life. Like, the things that used to take me 30, 45 minutes now just take me a few seconds to do it. It was great. So yeah, there's no hubris keeping me from learning from other artists and photographers, so please feel free to interact and let me know how you do things. But yeah, pretty good. Thanks for hanging around for the whole video. Bye.